tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, welcome to Breaking Into Reality with me, Sheila Conlin, your host, and my co-host, Tim Ferretti.
Hello, everyone.
And my Twitter, which you can shout out to me at ConlinCoTV, and your Twitter?
Mine is T Ferretti LA, 2 R's, 2 T's.
Each week on Breaking Into Reality, we bring you our special guests to share their Breaking Into Reality stories, how they did it, and how reality TV changed their lives. We will also talk about some of the newest shows on TV, some of the oldest ones, reality TV stars that are taking the world by storm. We'll inform you about casting opportunities worldwide. And I get the distinct pleasure of giving you some of my insider tips, expert advice to find out if you're right for reality TV and if you're the next reality TV star. So again, I'm Sheila Conlin, casting director and producer of some of the longest running shows on TV, Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, so many, and some of the shortest running ones, you know, like Utopia and I Want to Marry Harry, but I love those. They were amazing. They should have been on longer.
Much longer.
Yes, much longer. But anyway, I love all of them and I love doing it. And for all, I want to say one other thing. I just have to do a shout out to all of my Latinas out there that tuned into the AdelanteMovement.com, the webinar I did with Nelly Galan. Thank you so much. Crossover casting is up and running, and we've gotten your submissions and cannot wait to see more. So again, the AdelanteMovement.com, crossover casting. Keep going. And our special guest today is 3-time Cupcake winner.
Cupcake Wars winner.
Okay, Cupcake Wars winners. I knew that. Cupcake Wars winner. And author of Savory Bites, Hollis Wilder.
Hello.
Yay! Thanks for having me. And what's your Twitter, Hollis?
Hollis Wilder.
At Hollis Wilder. Okay, so everyone will know that. So, you know, Hollis is here to discuss her reality TV experience. I mean, she's been a winner. She's a published author. She has still has a successful business, yes. Sweet by Holly. And, I mean, 4 shows she's been on. And we get to hear all the new upcoming things about what's happening with Hollis and what's on the horizon for her next. But before we do that, we need to switch gears, go to Tim Ferretti, and he's going to bring us our casting traffic report, because if you guys don't get out there and audition, you cannot become a reality TV star, right? So what do you have for us, Tim?
That's right, Sheila. I'm Tim Ferretti. I'm here with your casting traffic report. So each week, this is the segment where we keep you up to date on all the open call opportunities out there, all of your favorite shows that are casting, audition dates, locations, and we'll tell you where to go for more information. We also, I should mention, we have a special announcement at the end of the show that we want to share with you guys. Really exciting news. But before we get there, let's get started on what's casting. So to all of our aspiring chefs out there who are willing to put themselves on the chopping block. You like that pun?
Yeah.
In front of Chef Gordon Ramsay, our friends over at MasterChef are currently casting, and we have some open call dates to share with you. September 26th in Chicago, September 26th in Louisville, Kentucky, October 3rd in Jackson, Mississippi, October 3rd in New York City, and October 10th in Los Angeles. You can go to masterchefcasting.com for more info. Some great cooks in those cities. Sheila and I know that from experience casting many cooking shows, right, Sheila?
Oh, yes. Many.
Yeah.
But this is a good one for people that are not professional cooks, have not worked behind the lines, so we love MasterChef.
That have the potential.
Yes.
All right, perfect. And there are also a host of TLC shows that are currently casting at the moment. They include Bride by Design, Brides Gone Styled, Curvy Brides, Dare to Wear, Extreme Cheapskates, I Still Didn't Know I Was Pregnant, My Strange Addiction, Say Yes to the Dress, a favorite, Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta, Sex Sent Me to the ER, Strange Love, Style by Jury, and 90 Day Fiancé. So for more information about how you can put yourself into the running for those shows, share your story, go to tlc.com/casting.
That sounded like one big show. Just different segments, right? Can you imagine all of that happening?
Well, that'd be one big, interesting show. And then Voz Kids opened casting for season 4. So as you probably know, this is the Spanish language singing competition that features contestants aged 7 to 15 years old. So remember, when you're going to cast for this show, only the parent or legal guardian of a potential contestant can register, complete, and submit the required forms. And you can find those forms and all the information about eligibility requirements and anything else they want from you at lavozkidscasting.com.
And for all you Latinas out there,
Yes.
just reminding you, get your kids on TV. It's a great show.
So it looks like the summer casting season is coming to a close, and one of those includes Fox's American Idol, the final season, which has one more open audition date left, and that is September 15th in San Francisco. You can go to AmericanIdol.com for more information on this date, plus audition dates for the American Idol bus tour. Bravo's Untying the Knot is now casting. So those familiar with the show know that it follows esteemed divorce mediator Vicky Ziegler, and she is ready to help people divorce with dignity and divide your assets equitably, which is a very important process. So you can apply now at engelentertainment.com. That's ENGEL entertainment.com.
Just put it all out there.
Just put it all out there.
Put it all out there.
That's the way to do it, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the best TV. And then finally, MTV is casting for a few of its shows. One of them includes True Life, which we know is the long-running documentary series that's always tackling riveting subject matter. I grew up watching that show. And they are currently casting and looking for stories for some of their topics. And they also have a new show. We don't have the name of the show, but it's by the same creators of Catfish. And they are looking for people to come clean with some secrets, some deep, dark secrets. So
Scandalous.
you can go to remotecontrol.mtv.com/casting calls for more information, plus a list of many other programs that they're currently casting. And I'm Tim Ferretti, and that is your casting traffic report.
Well, thank you, Tim.
You're
That's
welcome.
always helpful. We have to know what's going on out there.
Yes.
In the world of casting, in the world of reality TV. But now, here we are, our special moment to have Hollis here. So again,
Hi.
3-time Cupcake Wars winners.
It's a
What
tongue
that is?
twister.
Blah, 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 yeah. But what my favorite, though, is author of Savory Bites, which
Oh,
is
well, thank you.
amazing. Look at that. Yay.
That's
Awesome.
my birth child, let me tell you.
Your baby?
Writing, that's my baby right there.
Well, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. Before we do that, though, I just have to mention, because Hollis has the best cupcakes ever, and I got to experience this firsthand at your shop in Jacksonville. And then Hollis and I had the greatest experience taking 2,500 cupcakes to the troops in Guantanamo Bay.
On 2 C-12 planes.
Yeah.
It was incredible. What a time we had.
I know, and every
was.
cupcake was intact, and nothing got smushed, nothing got melted, and there was a dog on our plane.
Oh, there was a dog, and I think we took 1,000 pounds of buttercream.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
my
that's a lot of
goodness.
buttercream.
Oh my God, it was so good, and every single one of those cupcakes, amazing, and the troops loved it.
They loved it.
Loved.
Well,
So
we made them decorate them. It was
that's
truly
right,
a war.
that's right,
we
that's
were on
right.
the front lines, Sheila.
That's right. We had a
right.
competition. I forgot about that part. I just kept
right.
remembering trying to get the cupcakes there. It's like, oh my gosh, that was so much fun, and what a great thing to do for our troops or guys out there that are fighting for us. So, again,
And gals.
And the guys, yeah, guys and the gals. That was
That's right.
awesome. So anyway, welcome, and now
Thank you.
I'm so excited about. Tell us about this book. How did this happen?
Well, the first time I was on Cupcake Wars, I made for George Lopez salmon cupcake. And this is the way it works in reality television. I mean, you don't go on there just to be like cute and make a cupcake, right? And so somebody told me that had a lot of experience, you need to make your mark and don't make a cupcake that you always make. Go outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
So when I saw the table of ingredients and there was salmon, I thought, well, I've got to make a salmon cupcake. And how am I going to do that?
That sounds weird.
It does sound really gross.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, try and wrap your tongue around that. Yucky.
Yeah.
But I did it without sugar, and it actually ended up being a lemon zested cake that had very little sugar. So it has the moisture of the cake, lemon zested with creme fraiche, chives, capers, and cold smoked salmon, sounds like an hors d'oeuvre.
Yeah,
Now
sounds
we've
great.
taken it from sweet to savory. And that's why I got the book deal. Because the publisher was channel surfing, saw salmon on a cupcake show, backed up the channel, watched, and said, oh my gosh, I got to call this girl.
This is a book.
This is a book.
And see, we're going to talk about this in my insider tips later, but this is how things happen when you're on a television show and you did something innovative, and look what happened, and you got the book deal, which is huge.
Yes, it's huge.
So we'll come back to more about Savory Bites and where you're taking this and the next steps in your career. But let's talk about the beginnings.
Yes.
You know, because our show's about breaking into reality, and I'm fascinated with Hollis' story about how this happened for you. So we ask you to share your breaking into reality story. How did this happen?
The breaking into reality was really a telephone call. Ironically, I had been cooking for all sorts of celebrities in Los Angeles for many years. I moved to Orlando, Florida. There were no cupcakes there. I opened up the first cupcake and self-serve frozen yogurt shop. The phone rang. It was the Food Network. Well, they never called me when I was in L.A., but they called me when I was in Waterford Lakes, Orlando, Florida.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? And they said, we have a new show. It's called Cupcake Wars. We want you to audition for it. And I said, this is not real. I mean, this is not really happening. No, we want you to send us a little, just a little 2-minute flip video of yourself. So I got the flip camera, took a video from the feet up, said, do I look like a cupcake baker? I had just come from working out. They called me and said, we want you on the show. That was it.
And that was season 1, right?
That was season 1.
Brand new season.
Right.
Yeah. And how long had the shop been open by the time that you had
The
received that
shop
call?
had been open nearly a year.
Okay. Well, this is an example, actually. We talk a lot on the show about auditioning, and Sheila provides auditioning tips, but you're actually an example of somebody who was cold called,
Or recruited. We call it
recruited to
recruiting.
be on the show. But they found you through research, you had an established business, you had an established reputation, and they wanted somebody with skills and something to prove of those skills to compete in the show to give it credibility. So that's a strategy for casting, right, Sheila?
Right. Which one of my unique what is it, procedures that I set up years ago. But yes, to come out and find who's got the best cupcakes. You guys are going to compete against each other. So what happened next?
So then I got myself ready mentally. And what I mean by mentally is that I started working out with a trainer to get myself ready for competition. Because I'd never been on television for competition. I mean, I'd never been on television. And I knew that I needed to have my game face on because I didn't know who I was going to encounter there. I knew that I was bringing the best of my sweet and savory background because I'm a self-taught sweet chef and savory chef, so I knew I could bring the food portion of it. But I needed to make sure I had the game. I needed to know that I could actually withstand the tension and having all those cameras on you. So I showed up, I made the salmon cupcake. I made a couple other really fantastic, yummy, savory cupcakes as well. And got the book deal. And then it just rolled from there. Then I got another episode. They called me. This time I didn't have to send them any submission tape. And then a third time. So it just kept going. They would pick up the phone and call me.
So how did you feel about that? Because after winning the first show, and then now all of a sudden you're called back to come on the second, you're already the winner. So who are you going up against?
And I forgot to say, between the first and second season, they created another show called Cupcake Confidential, which featured me and 3 other cupcake bakers from around the country. And we shot an episode. It didn't get picked up. But while this is happening, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's momentum here. Something exciting is going on. It happened so fast. It was really, it happened so fast. I was awestruck. Really.
And what happened to your business? Well, you were from getting a call to do season 1, then season 2, the other show. How did that happen?
Well, the business broke even the first year, so I was grateful for that. Then I got the phone call. We want you to be on the show. I went up. Ridiculous. I mean, it went from $600,000 the first year to $1.6 million.
Oh my God.
So the business was insane. The calls were coming in for talk shows. I was doing magazines. I was traveling all over the place. And don't forget, I'm writing a cookbook at the same time.
Oh.
And raising 2 children and running a Sweet by Holly, my cupcake shop in Orlando at the time. I hadn't opened up Jacksonville yet, but all these things were happening. It was a little bit loony bins.
And did anybody tell you how to do this or to prepare for this?
Nobody told me anything about it.
Right, but
Yeah.
I met you through towards the tail end of that after the book came out. But another really important thing to let our viewers know, our listeners out there, is that you can't go wrong by being on TV. I mean, look at what it did for your business. Eyeballs on you and for your business automatically boost sales. Mm-hmm. So there's no bad TV.
No,
I don't think
there is no bad TV.
No,
absolutely not.
Had you planned or had the thought crossed your mind of exploring the idea of reality TV before you received that call?
I would say no.
And
No.
and how do you prepare for mentally for the opportunity to be on TV in front of millions of people?
Well, you look at yourself a lot in the camera. I mean, you have somebody put a video on you. At that time, there were flip cams. So I did a lot of videos, checked myself out. How am I going to wear my hair? What outfit should I wear? Of course, they wanted me to wear the short shorts that I wore in my submission, where I had just come from the gym. And I said, well, I can't wear that. People don't cook in kitchens with those clothes on. A little T-shirt and a pair of short shorts. I just thought that this was a real opportunity to show that I was other than just a cupcake baker, because I wanted to be looked at as a brand. Because really, here's what I was thinking, and it's grandiose, but grandiosity only occurs when you can't back it up. And here I was positioned to be on the show, and I could cook, and I had all of the other attributes that I needed to have in order to be on TV.
Right.
So I thought, well, I'll end up in Walmart and Target. Just like everybody else that's on television, I'll end up in Walmart and Target, and I'll have those pots and pans, and you'll be able to come in and buy my sauce. That's what the goal was. Now, how am I going to get there?
Right. But that's a very good point, because you're a business owner, you were building your brand, you saw this opportunity, and you started to see the vision, the goal. What are all the things that I can do with this? Mm-hmm. So then what happened? How did it, I know it was hectic, I know it was crazy. I mean, do you want to let us in on a little bit of the secrets on how they do this behind the scenes, how that competition was, how frantic it was? Did you cry at any time? Were you ready to give up?
I'm the boo-hoo girl. And they would say to me every time I was on, there's no crying in cupcakes, over and over again. There's no crying in cupcakes, Hollis. I mean, I would go on there, and because I was so grateful, first of all, I was so grateful that this phone call came.
Right,
It really did change my life. It changed my life. In always positive, because ultimately it's just an exploration of self that is really important anyway. You're checking your ego. All these things are happening. So, what did you just ask me?
I was just asking, like behind the scenes.
Oh, behind the scenes. Yes, I cried, and the competition's fierce. When that clock starts, time is time. So, they want you to do a little bantering back and forth with some of the other teams and show some of your sword fighting ahead of time before the competition actually starts. And I did get some tips where I wanted to be shown in the best light and not really be who I really am in the kitchen.
Oh.
That was a cue that I was given. Don't really show them who you really are.
Well, because that's your game. It's your game face, they call it, right? So
Right.
they
You want to
don't know?
show. You want to go with your game face, and you want to showcase. Now, I'm sweet by Holly. So, and on the back of my cupcake trucks, I'm very sweet with a sweet smile, and I'm holding a cupcake, and little girls love me, and I'm a role model.
Right.
So I can't go on TV and be,
Yes.
I can't do that.
And be a tiger.
Be a tiger. So I thought anyway.
But you did win. So you
I did win.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that I won them over with well, here's the thing. My genuine reality is genuine. It's not I'm not disingenuous at all. And so for me to be on there and to be emotional really I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And it makes for great television. I mean, I can't turn the waterworks on like right now. If you tried to get me to turn the waterworks on, that's not going to happen.
Maybe I could. I don't know. I've been known to make a few people cry.
Yeah, I bet you have.
Yeah. No, but that's true. Like, you were there, and the emotion, it's that personal journey, too, that a lot of people don't, even realize. If you win or not in these competition shows, you learn so much about yourself.
You do. And at the end of the show, well, before the show actually airs, hopefully you know that what you're doing is you're making a television show. You're not just going on. This is not just some video cam. This is millions of people are watching it. And so you are making a television show. So how much of yourself you're willing to show? How much of yourself are you willing to share? And I made a lot of deep edits because I thought, I can't really go there. I can't really go there.
That's really interesting because I see why they cast you to be on the show. Number one, your cupcakes are great, but your look and your demeanor and the sweet, that's just, this whole persona. But I always tell people when we're auditioning them for TV shows, you have to be authentic. You have to let your whole self out. And I don't like it when people edit themselves or hold back.
Well, I did that for shows 1, 2, and 3.
I was just going to ask, so their season 1 was 2011, and you were the first winner, actually,
Yes.
on episode 1, so you kind of set the precedent for everybody. They invite you back for season 2. Was it easier? Was it less scary coming back? You kind of knew how it works, at least, because part of the learning curve is understanding how TV is made behind the scenes when you're competing or you're appearing on the shows. So how was the second experience and then the third experience?
Well, I have to tell you, one of the things behind the scenes is that I wanted to make sure that I knew where all of my mise en place, that's the food, and my equipment were every single time.
Okay.
Because you've got a lot of people handling your things. So they'd be back there touching all this stuff. I'd be like, wait a minute, where are you moving that? Because I need that.
Right.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it. So when I went on the second time, I knew that I needed to make sure I was checking my ego. I had to make sure that just because I won and I knew that they liked me and I'd gotten the book deal, that going on the second time, if I lost, that would be serious. Because people watch that and they really think it's real, right? They watch reality television and they think that what happens on there really happens and that who you are on television is really who you are in life. And so if I lost, it would be a loss for Orlando, Florida. And at that time, Jacksonville, Florida. So there was no pressure. Everybody was saying, oh, go, Hollis, we're so behind you. We can't wait to see you go on there and do this again and win. Well, I was even more fierce the second time.
You're very competitive.
I'm very competitive.
Yes.
Yes.
So, yes, that definitely,
Yes.
there's no losing.
No, there was no losing. And also in the choice of who you decide your teammate to be. Because when you go on these shows, you have to choose a partner.
Strategy.
So you need somebody that is as good, if not better, than you are. Isn't that what life always finds? Somebody that's better than you are, and then do it better than they do it. Right?
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Good motto.
Oh, I need to find someone better than me.
And then you learn all of these tricks.
Oh, okay. Do we do that in our personal life too?
Maybe once upon a time.
Another show. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's fast forward to, all the success, everything was happening, you're managing everything. Stores are doing great, sales are going up, kids at home are doing okay, or was the family life falling apart?
Oh, family life is definitely like cuckoo. Cuckoo. My children looked at me one night. I came rolling in and they said, what's more important, us or the cupcake shop? So, yes, things are happening. We made a sort of a verbal contract as a family that this is an opportunity. It's a gamble. It's a risk. You don't get very many opportunities like this. And so you have to go for it full force and whatever it takes. So if I'd get a phone call, you have to be in Washington it's Monday and you have to be in Washington Thursday morning to do the morning show. Guess what? I'm packing up a suitcase with cupcakes and all sorts of things, and I'm getting on an airplane by myself, and I'm flying there, and I'm doing that. So it became the priority.
You know what? And that's another good point, too, because with family businesses or it's single business owners or whatever it is, it's hard running a business, number one, and then your family is affected as well.
Yes.
And it's great to get all the fame and glory, but, all of a sudden, who's feeling less prioritized?
That's exactly.
That's really cool. I'm glad.
And then you feel then you have the guilt from that.
Right.
So I'm a little interested in learning more about your roots as a baker and how you learned all your skills, where you came from, even prior to opening the shop. Tell us a little bit about that, that part of your story.
Well, I don't know about you, but I had an Aunt Violet, a grandmother Hazel, Eunice, Oval. These are all female names. These women, they could bake, and they baked with lard. Their crust was incredible. So I grew up with all different homemade breads, eclairs, cream puffs, puddings, pies. They grew their own fruits and vegetables. They lived on a farm. They made the most extraordinary desserts. They didn't make cupcakes. So when I started collecting ideas for sweets, Sweet by Holly, and making cupcakes, I took those family favorites from my childhood and I rolled them up into a cupcake paper and I made cupcakes. Now, what separated me from other cupcake bakers at the time and on each one of the shows, I noticed that I was known for mini cupcakes because it's all about minimize to maximize. So you can have a 2.5 bite cupcake, get the taste that you want without overindulging, which is really what my Savory Bites book is all about, because it's about portion control without saying, you need to watch how much food you're eating. But one of the tips that I noticed was people on the Cupcake Wars would show up with these giant cupcakes. They wanted to make the big ones, which are about the size of your fist. That was their downfall. Because who can finish one of those? And every time I was on the show, I made mini cupcakes. And I made 4 different flavors. And people could eat half of one. And guess how many they're eating? If they're eating half of one and they're having 4 flavors.
That's smart.
Right?
That's smart.
So what a variety.
A variety.
I love that.
So what did you ask me? Because I get off. I start getting off and la.
No, we love it.
You did it.
Your beginnings, though, and you were in LA, and our viewers might not know this, but you were a celebrity chef. You cooked for some major names out there that many people would recognize, and that was prior to the shop.
That was prior to the shop.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
Yes.
Those roots, that story.
Well, I got my break in food when I started working for Max Muchnick, who was co-creator with David Cohan, who's, by the way, the brother to Genji Cohan of Orange is the New Black. And they created Will and Grace. And so I was on that show and made food for them. And then in the subsequent years that I was on the show, which was the full run of the season of the entire show, I also cooked for all these other shows at CBS Radford. So Seinfeld, Third Rock from the Sun, Caroline in the City. And at the same time, I had a catering company. So I was making food for people like... my big client was Jay Leno, and I did cook a couple times for Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, and the Osmonds, and then Michael Jackson, and I was cooking on people's private airplanes as well. So I had a company called Cloud 9. This is back in the day with the beeper. The phone would ring at midnight. Michael Jackson has 28 people on his plane, or the Rolling Stones are coming into town and they need food for. So I was very busy.
Can you give us an insider tip here? What did the Stones want?
Of course. Oh, love, we love bangers. We want bangers? Give us bangers. Of course, you knew that's what they want.
What's a banger?
Banger. It's like the
it's a sausage.
Yeah,
the
English sausage.
Educate
so
me.
Good.
Right. Come on.
We like deli. Deli. We like deli.
And what about Michael Jackson? What did he want?
Well, they had to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the breakfast was all sorts of fruits and pastries. All of this I'm making, of course.
Right.
I'm in there making cinnamon buns at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
Rolling out the dough. They liked a cold fish platter with all sorts of smoked and marinated fish. And then for dinner, they liked the steak tartare or filet mignon. Now, all of this food is created a la menu. Do you know what that means? So it's brought to a certain place. Okay, it's not fully cooked because on board it gets finished. So everything's prepped. It's all in its little containers. That business was a nightmare, and I'll tell you why. You know what happens? You put the food in a little refrigerator, okay, at the hangar.
Right.
Okay. Other people put their food in there. And if they don't like you, they take your food.
No way.
So then the flight attendant shows up and she says, where's the mashed potatoes and the apple strudel? It's not here. Or, good one, Kevin Costner. He liked tenderloin of beef chili, and I made this for him all the time. Where's Mr. Costner's beef?
But who would take it? Another
caterers.
Other caterers that are out there catering for the.
So that's how you knew how to get 2,500 cupcakes at one time.
That's exactly it. That's
high
why
security.
I win.
Yes, understood. I get it now. That makes more sense.
And we guarded them with our lives.
Yes, and she knew to guard them.
No
too.
one was taking it.
All right,
That's
good.
right. So no, that was the celebrity stuff, and then off to Florida, open up the shop, then the TV show, sales boom, the book comes out, you're a published author now. So let's, I mean, this is
This is the book
thing.
again, Savory Bites.
And tell us about Savory Bites. So how did you get the idea?
Well, you know, when the publisher calls, they tell you this without telling you this. You have basically 10 minutes to tell us what the book is going to be about. And you're blah, 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 blah. That's why you always have to be prepared in life.
Your elevator pitch.
You have got to be ready. And so what I said to them was that the book is going to be about American cuisine, the cuisine that everybody likes to eat, but in a smaller portion and not with sacrificing any of the fat or flavor. So instead of doing this thing where everybody's like, oh, let's do the low carbs and the low fat,
right.
Yeah.
and you can't eat this and you can't eat that. Everything that's in the book are the same foods from my childhood beginnings and the food that I made on set and in airplanes, because that's what everybody wants. They want home-cooked meals.
Yeah,
they want comfort food.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that instead of it being in a casserole, which you serve yourself with a big shovel, by the way, on a paper plate that's flimsy because there's so much food on it, we're going to make it in a classic American cupcake pan, which is a half a cup of food.
This is the play on cupcakes.
Play on cupcakes.
Nice
Why not?
tie-in.
You're right. I had to use a tool, a kitchen tool, that everybody already had because they bought into the cupcake craze. Everybody went out and bought the
Right,
silicone pan, the mini pan, the Texas Jumbo, the classic.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
All
there
these
were so many
pans.
tools.
And so the recipes are fleshed out, understanding the way that you're going to be serving them and preparing them, which is in the cupcake tin.
In the cupcake tin, but they're not with papers, they're with edible wrappers. So things like smoked salmon, wonton wrapper,
Yeah.
aspic, brought back in the new, improved way. Some pie dough, puff pastry.
Oh, I love puff pastry.
Love puff pastry.
Yes.
And then there are all sorts of side dishes. And the book is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's not cupcakes.
And it's easy. It's easy to make.
It's easy. And you know what? I don't know about you, but half of the pot racks around the nation are filled with dust. People are not cooking. This is easy. It's convenient. You can make it ahead of time. I have college
Right.
dorm room girl. They call and say, well, we want to put together a little, like a coffee clatch of girls, and they all get together and they make the cupcake food in the cupcake tins.
Right.
They put it in their little portion-controlled Tupperware, and they take it to their dorm rooms, and they have food for a week.
So many people's dream out there is to write a book, and you built this platform to be able to do it. But reality is in our title, so I do have a question. What is the reality of writing and publishing a book? From the press tours, from the actual construction
you
of the
only get
book.
a press tour if you are huge.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
As my publisher pointed out when I said, well, what about the picture of me on the back? You're not a celebrity. This is what they told
Oh.
me. And so you don't get to have your picture on the back. Well, I wish that it had been. That's one of the biggest questions that people ask me. How come your face isn't on the back of the book? And so here's the thing. They call and they say, here's your book deal. You get a $20,000 advance, but that $20,000 is around the clock. I'm testing the recipes. Then, to get the good housekeeping seal of approval on your cookbook, your book agent, who, by the way, you don't have, I didn't have one. I wasn't planning on writing a book.
Right,
the
right.
publisher called me. How backward is this? The publisher called me, and then she said, you need an agent. Here are 5 agents. Interview them.
Yeah, pick one.
I picked the one that was the smallest female, little tiny boutique in Stone Song Press in New York City. That's who I chose because it was women power, right?
Women power.
You get that $20,000. It gets gobbled up when you give half of it away to the good housekeeping seal of approval on your book, which makes it so that when Sheila and Tim are home and all of you are home trying to cook these things, they turn out.
Right. So it's tried, true, tested.
Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Right. And then
Interesting.
you hire someone to edit, right? So, and then it costs $6,000 to buy the food to test all of the recipes.
Right, and there's a lot. Yeah, doing these cookbooks, because I've gone through this process
Yes.
with one of my clients, and it's not pretty. It's
No,
not
it's
pretty,
not.
and it costs a lot of money.
Costs a lot.
It looks pretty,
And
though.
you're up all
when it's
night.
all said and done, it looks really pretty, but
You're up all night.
Right, and it is
Cooking.
so that's another thing too. It looks glamorous and everything, but on the flip side, it's so rewarding. It's amazing. I mean, the accomplishment.
I'm
Don't-
very proud.
and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah, and
It
it is
is.
forever. Yeah.
Yes, it is forever.
It's a huge accomplishment. So from the book now, what's coming up next? What do we have on the horizon? I think I know if you will
Yes.
allow me to do it.
Please.
So, because of the platform, and this is what I always try and tell everybody out there, the listeners, to get started, get yourself out there, you have a great platform to launch from. And you learned a couple things.
I did.
So let's talk about, most people don't want to talk about, a couple of the mistakes.
Yes.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, but the one mistake and a mistake is a good thing. I'm
Yes,
not taking
it
it
is.
as a bad thing. The last time we had the show with Ariane Resnick on Chopped, she had a situation that most people would have said, oh my God, this is, horrific, but she turned it into positive and it worked for her.
Mm-hmm.
Same with where I think you're going now, where I know you're going now.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, what was the one thing that you would do differently, would have done differently?
Well, I think the number one was to make sure that I had a strong social media platform. I would have made sure absolutely that somebody was tweeting. I mean, I couldn't someone was writing a blog. There was no way I could do all of that while I was competing on a show, writing a cookbook, which, by the way, from the time they asked me until it was on the bookshelves was 2.5 years. So that was a big chunk of my life. And a time period when my children were 6 and 7, which kind of is a blur to me. So I paid a price for that.
Right.
The social media, I think, is a really big key.
Because you have to keep your image and your
You do.
everything out
and
there.
It's a balancing act. I mean, I did have, on the one hand, I had, you're the Sweet by Holly brand. You have companies that rely on the income, and I relied on the income. And so you cannot take a certain part of your personality and put it on reality television. If I had done that, I think I'd be in a completely different position because I would have been truer to myself. I'm talking about not editing myself.
So, yeah, let's be clear about that because I think this is something everybody wants to really hear because you hear me pound this over and over and over. Authenticity, be yourself. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Be uninhibited. All of us have emotions, every single range, and it's okay to let them out. That makes you more relatable.
Right.
And I think you're right. If you would have been the true Miss Holly,
AKA Hollis Wilder.
yeah, a.k.a. Hollis
Yeah.
Wilder, which tell us, who is the real Hollis Wilder?
Oh, well, the real Hollis Wilder is very competitive, driven, grandiose at times, self-deprecating,
Ballbuster.
a ball buster. Yeah, I'm a
Perfectionist.
perfectionist.
Great business owner.
I want it the way I want it when I want it.
And to me, I can relate to this, from one business owner to another. We will get criticized for it, or people will want to talk about, but when you're running a business and your name is on it and your reputation, you have to have those qualities. You have to, because otherwise, what are you going to do? It half-assed?
No.
I mean, no. And, and it also means that you care. It's your passion. So, no. And so now, if you had your own show, well, there will be another show. So the show is going to be it's going to be the real Hollis Wilder.
It's going to be the real Hollis Wilder.
And give us a little insight into what it is that you would want, that you would be doing on TV.
Well, I think that it's important, and now, how do we blend the sweet and the savory? Okay? It's not a cooking show. It's got to be a show about, look at all of these kids that are not making any food. Just in regular neighborhoods. Latchkey kids. I don't know, Sheila, you're the expert. But what do I love? First of all, it has to come from the premise of what do I love to do?
Right, and what's authentic to you.
And what's authentic to me. I love to cook, and I love to teach kids how to cook. And they absolutely adore learning about portion. We have a nation full of, we're actually beyond national. It's pandemic with obesity. And we also have major issues in this country with poverty for children. They're not eating enough food.
And look at what you have as the perfect transition into this.
Teaching in schools. Yeah.
The size control, it's still good food, it's good for you, and teaching them how to do it.
And you don't have to go to a certain type of grocery store to buy the food. You can get it anywhere.
See, I like this, you know,
Yeah.
and kids' cooking shows are quite popular.
Yes, they are.
You know, so
Sheila's got the tips, right?
Yeah.
Sheila's got the tips. Actually, Hollis, we do a segment every day. Every show.
Every day we
where
do
we hear from Sheila tips that she has based on her experience and based on what she, knowing everything about reality TV. So we wanted to tackle the question today, like, is reality TV right for your business?
Right.
So Sheila's going to give some tips on how to answer that question.
Right, and I also just want to say thank you to Hollis for leading into this, because a lot of what you've gone through and what you've shared with us go back to what my tips are and how you learned through it and what we discussed. So I'll be highlighting a couple of these. And feel free to jump in if you have any comments, because I will go right to it on my paperwork here. So to recap what we've heard from Hollis, which is, wow, quite a lot. It was amazing. I mean, you've been through a lot through this reality TV process, and now you're ready to take on the next part. So what did we learn? If you're a business owner and you get contacted by someone, or you want to approach, someone who's doing reality TV, there's a few things that you should really be prepared for. I would say, first of all, number one, have a goal in mind. What is your end goal? Because if you have your business, no matter if you've been in business a year, 2 years, 3 years, what is your end goal? Where do you want to take it? So number one, really know that and understand it, right? Mm-hmm. And then number two, make sure your business can be managed and taken care of when you're not there. Mm-hmm. Because as Hollis said, it can happen really fast. And once you're on, all of a sudden, you don't want your business to suffer, because the bottom line is be on TV, get the eyeballs, boost your sales, have that visibility, and know how to take that to the next level. So make sure you're protected on the back end. Because how many people, don't...
It's slaughtering of the lamb, basically.
I mean, because otherwise there aren't enough hours in the day to do both. The next thing is, and then money, like you said before,
Mm-hmm.
You need to set aside a little bit of money, because it's so competitive out there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get 1 ounce of attention, you're the winner, you're this, you're that, you created something interesting, you did something. You need to have your own social media, your own PR person. Mm-hmm. The networks are there to do it for their show, but they're not going to do it for you and your business.
No, they're not.
So you have to make sure you have money to put into that. And if you get the luxury of getting a book deal for whatever it is, you need your own PR people for that too.
That's right, because the publisher doesn't do that.
Right.
They do not promote your book.
Right, as everyone says, it's like, oh, once you get a book deal, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing, yeah. And then, where's my exposure is good. Oh wait, no, I'm backing up. Vision, the bigger picture. Have a bigger picture. Know where you want to go. Is it a product that you want to go to next? Is it opening more stores, or more businesses, or more restaurants, or another retail store? Whatever it is, think big. What is the bigger picture? And your vision needs to be wide. Go for everything. Exposure is good. Being on TV, as I said before, everybody goes, well, should I be on TV? It's going to be bad for my business. Well, we just heard from Hollis as well, going, don't edit yourself, don't censor yourself. I mean, you did very well, and you got by editing yourself and censoring it. You still were a winner. You got all this to happen, but really, in the end, you wish you would have done it the other way.
I do.
And so number one, put yourself out there, be uninhibited, and authentic. Contracts, running a business. It's a business is a business, and they say show business. It's still a business,
right?
So you have to make sure that your business is protected. Bottom line, and we'll talk about that some more in other shows too. And then what's next? Think about your next show. Like you said, you had one that happened, one right after another. Well, sometimes they're not going to come to you and give you that. So you need to be thinking, and how do you create that? How can you parlay into the next thing for yourself? Because you can be here today, gone tomorrow, flash 5 minutes of fame instead of 15 minutes of fame. And then I think I already mentioned a little bit, but I still like to say it. Authenticity, genuine, and don't ever give that up. So those are my insider tips for taking your business, an existing business, and some opportunities for reality TV.
I think it's important also to know just in yourself when to stop the chase. Because like I said in the beginning, there was momentum and it went and it went and went. But then you have to be thoroughly honest with yourself and say, can I physically do this? And mentally, can I continue to do it? against all of what I've learned, both positive and negatively. And maybe the ultimate goal isn't necessarily what you started out with. But if you exit from the game, altogether, you don't get to find out. But maybe it's something else. It doesn't have to be, it can be a surprise. And that's what I'm looking forward to. The surprise. Yes, I have this platform. I'm interested in seeing what happens next.
Well, bottom line, you belong on TV.
Oh, thank you, Sheila.
I mean, since day one that I met you, you need your own show. You're going to have your own show.
Thank you.
You should have your own show. You need to be on television.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're awesome. You have a lot to give and dynamic, and I love watching you. Tim and I were watching your old episodes, but I can't stop watching her. She's fantastic.
Actually, we didn't even touch on your recent Cake Wars episode.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we talked about how much you've won everything.
That's right.
This is more difficult.
That's right. Is this the right way? You see that?
But that was more recent. That was just last month.
It was just last month, but I have to tell you, it was fine that I lost because I was my authentic self.
Oh, wow.
I went on. I was free. I had so much fun. It was a blast. I wasn't walking around wondering whether or not I should have said that. So when I really took that paintbrush that had red dye on the end of it, and I slashed the white apron of the cooking assistant, and he looks like he'd gotten stabbed by me. They edited that. It was hysterical, but hey, I had a great time.
Good.
I had the best time.
And also, cakes are harder to do than
cakes are a lot harder than cupcakes. They're a lot bigger.
A lot bigger,
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay. I mean, when you're building a cake that's the size of a small child,
that's right.
That's insane.
That's right. Well, let's see. We are going to go again. Thank you, Hollis Wilder,
Thank you so much,
very
Hollis.
much.
for being a part of our Breaking Into Reality and sharing your Breaking Into Reality story with us. And we look forward to seeing a lot more of you coming up.
Yeah.
And
we're excited. Over on our end, we will be unveiling our new.
Oh, wait, is this the secret?
This
tip?
is our little our little announcement.
Or announcement.
Kind of partial announcement.
Yeah.
We have a new website that we're going to be unveiling in the next few days. A few weeks, few days.
Soon.
But guys, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a one-stop shop resource for anyone who's aspiring to be on reality TV, to create reality TV. If you're just an enthusiast like we are as well, this is where you can find anything that you would like to find. It's a one-stop shop resource.
And there's more to it too. We can't wait to show you.
Yes, absolutely. So stay tuned.
And thank you again for joining us on Breaking Into Reality. Do you have what it takes to be on reality TV? Find out on Breaking Into Reality. See you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.